gonna prepare a fine speech, to start a case for a position match. Leader of opposition.
Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. I think OG's house stands here because they want
You're here.
women going through the representative of the internal government bodies, but at the same time they want to still make this feminist movement to still be radical. Then the question should be why it can be happen when you utilize just only one thing rather than the other things. So this is why I think OG can do this debate. But in all, we should not prioritize insider strategy. It means that we are trying to prioritize the outsider strategy. It means we combating inequality publicly through first public confrontation, like early September, how we can have a protest in front of the public representative toward child and marriage abuse. But secondly, wide-scale campaign via offline through the organization like Indonesia, Jakarta Feminism, Perempuan Merdeka, and etc. But be online, digitalization through the social media that often engage with young generation. But since it's utilized, it means that if there is a representation of women in the internal government body, it can still be occurring in our side, but it's not be a priority. So even in the quantity will less, it's okay. This depends. So talk about the resource allocation, because when we are talking about feminism movement, the group have a crowdfunding from its member to pay to this institution, but B, you can join free, so you will count it as a human resource for the feminism agenda. So even if you are not really giving a money, then the contribution will be how you can contribute in the, for example, advocating process and etc. Then what's different in the government? They talk about this resource will allocate to propose women to be a representative in election. Why? But the question is why it's justified by the funding itself. But secondly, why you can push a better issue in their side, because I don't think that they even notice about the Indonesian feminists. They just talk about the other West feminists and etc. But in opposition, this resource will allocated for the advocating, giving a maneuver outside the government without really real affiliation with the government and etc. And then the second thing, what the agenda of the feminist movement, because this is actual debate. I think that the agenda is about how you can put issue about equality in jobs, sex harassment issue, intersectional agenda, like how it can be different between the woman as a single minority with a double minority. And then what's the interest of the feminist movement in Indonesia? I think it's equality, but we understand we have a lot of agenda, so the interest will be divided into three things. Firstly, to be heard. Secondly, pushing the issue start from the most important ones. Thirdly, protecting the quantity and consolidation of its member as the prerequisite why it can be sustained as a feminist movement. Why this is important for the feminist movement? A, the prerequisite of issue can be raised is when the feminist movement trying to push women to be raising her voice, because it's hard for the woman in general to have a braveness to speaking about their issue because they silence up in the society, in the status quo. This is why the first exclusive coming from OO is about how feminist movement is able to give hope for them to take a part for your movement, because you focus externally, gaining the awareness and braveness for the women itself. This is why the prerequisite to create a bigger scale and unity, because you create a relatability between its member. For example, it's okay for you to speaking to us because we can help you, for example, to Komnas HAM, or you can give, for example, a free lawyer and etc. to helping your issue. The comparative is in their side. Women will think movement emphasize their step into the politics or even doing compromise action that negatively seen by the woman itself. So firstly, it's hard to achieve the unity, but secondly, you will never match your agenda expectation because you will compromise with a lot of things. Why in our side will be likely to be heard? A, we get the quantity of the woman itself, like how you can put the agenda better into the public representative and etc. Because we are talking about Indonesia. Firstly, Indonesian politicians, they are patriarchy like what OG said. They even want to know what happened in 98, like what Lison in the, for example, meeting in the public representative. It means that if they are facing the patriarchy one, then they should answer why in the mentally, psychologically, and physically they will ever want to hear about their issue, because they will focus, like for example, we should focus into the economics because this is general and etc. as a reason why they want to, for example, raising for the feminist later. But secondly, the culture of the regulation, it will only hurt when you push it massively and give harm to the politician reputation. But why? First, then what's the exclusivity? First, this is why the unit is important and you have the quantity of the priorities to the issue. Secondly, you can fully push system without compromise. But 30, this is important. Because of that much quantity, it's easier for the feminist movement to create a discussion among the women itself in its group. It's provide discussion what we should prioritize. This is why, when I notice about how we have a lot of agenda, this is easier for you to prioritize because you have, for example, forum, a channel to have a communication. This is why, when Oji talking and notice about RUPKS, this is a form of outsider strategy because this is proving how the feminism can constantly in 12 years pushing about this issue without really prioritize the other agenda because they think that this is the important one that we need to solve, and this is why they can have a unity when they are pushing it to the public representative, how they can have an anti-Indonesian into the Indonesian political and etc. So this is why it can be more successful because at the end of the day, when we have a quantity and we have, for example, pushing this issue into one prioritized things, we can easily to attacking this politician, for instance, and they will pragmatically say that, okay, I will hurt you because I don't want my reputation in the political to be harmed with this action. Before that, closing.
Has any politicians ever actually fought to listen to confrontation? I think it's much more likely that they don't want to listen, and they probably will get more radical in your side of the house. If what you're saying is true, that they're that evil, probably they're going to be worse in your side.
I think this is why the quantity aspect is very important because when we are talking about the public representatives, their culture is about how they can make their child to be a public representative. So this is why their main interest is about how they can look better outside the society, not inside like what they say. Because when they are just talking about how women can pushing into the certain politician, the answer is why it can be, for example, looking at the external and why people will hurt. Because at the end of the day, the things that make the culture created by the government itself is about, yeah, this is your responsibility. We are as an external doesn't care. So this is why it's very hard for them, for example, as a politician, to be moving to helping the external itself. But in our sense, it can be better because as we try to focus starting from the external, it's easier for you to having, for example, attacking this politician in the social media, in their parties and etc. But then secondly, it's not only just about the unity, but it's also how you can having a trustness coming from your member itself, because this is the priority for you to keeping your quantity, and this is more easier to achieve in our side, because when you want to having a large quantity, it means that you will need to have a constant 100% interest that focuses into the feminist. Not only just focus that, okay, if we are talking about job equality, then the things that we are going to say is about how the woman can beneficially for the economy, and make the other reason that as the woman, you think that, oh, you compromise a lot into this politician. So why I can, for example, believe you, for example, to talking about 100 my issue, because you cannot ever provide all of that issue. Thank you.